Time travel has always been a subject that interests me. Whether it be well done or not, it always makes me curious to see what they do with it, the infinite possibilities. It kind of occupies the same space as multiversal traveling, where you can see different variations of different events and people. But it more often than not is hard to do and rarely gets done well, with overly complicated scripts and hard to do and understand mechanics. But what if there was a film that did it well? One that we might have forgotten? Well, I decided to look in the vast sea of these films and ended up finding one that intrigued me, Project Almanac. Released in January of 2015 to middling reviews and box office success, it only really found a small cult following, but I've decided to take a look back on this film and see if it does time travel right, or at least, interestingly. The film begins with our main characters filming a college admissions essay to MIT. Also, this is found footage, so yeah, that might not have helped its success considering it was coming out after the genre had been oversaturated. Our main character is David, testing on a motion sensor drone, which is both futuristic and realistic. Now, while the opening is cool, not very shaky, only to a reasonable degree, it having a soundtrack kinda defeats the purpose of a found footage movie. Like, you make a film in that genre not to be like every film, which includes music, unless it's a low note that really enhances the scene. However, I'm glad that when David is explaining the more technical side of things, he doesn't really dumb it down or have anyone else say, like, in English please, so I'll give it that. However, things soon go wrong as someone begins calling David, interrupting the hand motion sensors in the drone. Thus it falls, but this raises the question, if you know where your phone is, just turn off the call quickly so that you can catch the drone before it fully falls. Like, you will lose power for a bit and it might fall, but damn, at least you won't be doing nothing besides wasting hundreds of dollars on a drone and waiting for it to fall. You could have saved it, maybe. It's not a big problem, it's just kind of like a tiny thing. It's also at this point I'll introduce our other characters. The main person filming is David's sister Chris. His friends are Quinn, who also films. You'll be able to tell when a horny high schooler is filming, don't worry. And Adam, who are both very much into science like David is.
Yo, Adam, she didn't get into anything.
Well, we're celebrating, right?
Okay, this is a note I'm making initially watching it. What I feel like there's gonna be some plot twist where he tries to hook up with his sister, judging by this awkward hug and how he constantly compliments her. Like I'm calling it, something like that is gonna happen. This is a found footage movie. Everyone has to screw each other over. And, well, it turns out I was partially right. While they do end up getting in a relationship, thankfully it's a genuine one, not one born out of spite towards the main character or something else to add drama, which unfortunately happens in many found footage movies. So it's, like that, but it's better, so I'll give it that. However, David's scholarship is only $5,000, practically nothing, with the other $40,000 in tuition not be able to be covered by his mom since his dad died. That's a major part of the plot. They go to school, and what did I tell you? You can tell when it's Quinn filming, aka a horny high schooler. Despite this, we do get a halfway decent scene with the three male leads, expanding on their characters and making you feel for David and realize who he is, so you care about him when things go wrong. Hell, we even get the important info that Quinn sniffs Sharpies.
Oh my god, Jesse Pierce. Dude, I would literally give away all my earthly possessions for one day with her.
Wow, it's been 7 minutes and the film's ogled at like 3 different women. Weird. As they get in the car, Quinn continues being the worst part of this movie, continuing the trend of having unlikable assholes as the main person filming. However, he's not as egregiously annoying as some other main characters, so there's that, and I guess he does kind of improve. But at least for this first 20-30ish minutes, he's kind of really annoying. Plus, this scene reiterates that David is in fact smart. David goes up to the attic and looks for things in a last-ditch attempt at an experiment to get a scholarship and finds his dad's old video camera. They turn it on and play footage of his 7th birthday party, which was the last footage of his father and the last thing before he died in a car crash, and somehow notice him in the video. Current him, somehow in the past. Even though the footage was so quick, I doubt anyone would notice it, but then again, you might recognize yourself easier than anyone else. He brings over his friends and shows them the video, however, they're not convinced. The next day, they replay the footage and also see a ballerina keychain that David's holding in the video. David brings up his backpack, except it's actually not his, but a girl named Jessie. He goes over to her and they have a sorta awkward convo wherein he gives the backpack back. Also, I love how despite them being 50 feet away, you can perfectly hear them. Almost like they have microphones or something. This is also a returning thing, throughout the entire film, but it's not that bad, and, at least you can hear the stuff, and it's important to the plot, so... Okay. They end up recreating the birthday video, now with David, and end up realizing he was looking at the basement. They go down into the basement and find old technology from DARPA that David's dad used to make blueprints for a time machine. Don't know how DARPA didn't just find and collect this, but okay. They also find some more important pieces of the time machine, like the main component.
Yo, Project Almanac. ID number 453 Delta 71.
I find it funny that when you search it up, all you get is some Delta flight and its tracking history, just something I noticed. And hell, it's pretty recent too, literally the day I was watching the film, and the day before I was writing the script. They start trying to build it while Chris mentions her pants that Sarah Nathan spilled something on, which will obviously come back later in a time-traveling movie. They start up the part they have, and it begins creating electromagnetic energy, but it fails, needing more components to it. They decide to sneak into the school to get hydrogen and decide to film it. Smart. Although I will admit, I like how long the movie takes to actually get to the time travel part, nearly 30 minutes before they even test it out, and it makes for some cool scenes seeing them build it and try to test it out, only for it to not work. It makes it feel like more of an accomplishment when they do send a toy car back in time by about a minute, albeit with the trade-off being that it causes a blackout throughout the neighborhood. But hey, it gets Jesse there as they need our car batteries for power. We get a rather dizzying time travel scene wherein it goes through slow motion, okay, and then... Damn it, this isn't Transformers 4. Oh. That actually explains a lot. And hey, the time travel scene sets up other things. It shows David's dad and it shows Jesse near someone, presumably in a relationship with them. It's all very brief, but they set it up. Because of Jesse's involvement, she's now part of the group as she suggests they use it on people. A big stretch there as they just started with a toy car, but okay. But I do like how they mention using a puppy as a test subject, and a puppy does become an unintentional test subject later. Can't tell if that was improv or actually a setup, but cool. They also see Jesse's keys, which are in fact the ballerina keychain. David shows her the video with the keychain, and she says, oh, he clearly time travels. Yeah, the video shows he can time travel, but it never showed he could get back, which is a pretty huge factor, or that nothing went wrong, concerning he looked a bit stressed looking for the basement in the video. They go to a random area and time travel, and again with the slow-mo, it's like a Transformers movie with all the weird sound effects as well. It's very bizarre. I know Michael Bay produced this, but he also produced the Quiet Place movies, and they never had slow-mo. They all end up going over to Quinn's house and decide to immediately blow their cover by drawing on his neck. Yeah, pretty easy way for past you to wake up. I try something the opposite of that, and wow, what do you know, shit immediately goes wrong. Both versions of Quinn start freaking out, creating a feedback loop where they almost erase each other from existence, but the group leaves. They get chased by a dog and end up time traveling with it, as noted by the missing dog signs they find, and by me saying it earlier. The next day they discuss what happened and what they can do. They set up ground rules, no time traveling alone, and you need to film everything.
Corbin, why are you texting me at 3 in the morning?
Overreacting. We're just friends.
Actually, what the hell are you doing calling a dude at 3 a.m.? That's just suspicious. They decide to do a few things with time travel, first being Quinn repeating his chem report, and ends up redoing it about 1 billion times. Hold up, how come you're not running into versions of yourself? Yeah, I guess you could get someone to intercept them like you did originally with Chris, but at this point there must be like 10 versions of you guys just roaming the halls, since, right? I mean, if you're time traveling, you're bringing another version of yourself, right? Won't that on its own cause an effect? Some people will see you twice, thrice, or more. Logic, people, logic. Unless they're implying that every time you go back and time travel again, that version of you that was originally time traveling is just gone. But then, wouldn't you have not time traveled that time since that was erased because of the whole grandfather paradox? Because they're implying that there can be more than 2 versions of you because they intercepted a different version of Quinn earlier. So, how does this work? I'm really confused. The more I think about this shit, it's like every time they time travel, do they have to time travel before they initially time traveled? Or if they time travel at the same time, do they just cancel each other out and the newer version only stays? It's very confusing. If someone can explain it, please. It really is weird. And then when he finishes that, Quinn finishes it, he sits with the other past version of David. Dude, you're not being annoying in the scene, so I'll give you that, but you're being stupid. The other versions, you won't remember that specifically, and you'll run the risk of just straight up meeting them as they walk into class when they next time travel to that specific time they try and redo it that specific way. Also, you're talking to a past version of David, you're probably going to unintentionally say something that happens later, or you're going to run the risk of, when he talks to the actual past David, past Quinn, they're going to be like, David, that past David is going to bring up something that time traveling Quinn did that past Quinn didn't do, so you're just running a risk of, oh my god, this shit is confusing. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I'm not great with this stuff. I'm not super smart, but oh my gosh, this is really confusing. Their next trick is one that only takes time traveling one time, so it's way smarter, and that is Chris dumping a drink on Sarah Nathan. Simple and pretty good payback. Their next trick is to cheat the lottery to buy David and Chris's house back. Huh? Do something a little better, especially since lottery winners have a bad track record with their money and usually blow it. And wow, what do you know, it doesn't work, so they just deal with 1.8 million instead of 53-ish million, I think they said, after taxes or something. Still a lot, but they lost a lot as well. And they immediately blow it on a car, among other things. Great to know we're almost an hour in and there's no semblance of a character arc. These people never learn to not be greedy. I mean, they're not assholes, but they're still flawed and don't learn. Also, I love when Quinn flexes on this dude at Maserati. For the split a second, you can almost see him move back a bit, like he just processed the fact that a high schooler is flexing on him. It's very brief, but still.
I've been running some tests on a new battery source, xenon difluoride.
You just made that up, right?
Yeah, it sounds silly until you read that it was used as an ultra battery back in 2010, so hey, I'll give them that.
I'm just saying, clearly something's missing. And now you have my keys, and now you have me, so.
Whoa, nice. Oh, and Quinn continues blowing the money, albeit in a less expensive way than buying a car, and that is renting out several food trucks, although that's probably just a little bit less expensive. I don't know. Okay, that's cool though. I like it. It's not like an asshole thing. It's just kind of like renting out food trucks. That's cool. Tasty food. David asks them to meet him under the bleachers during 6th period, where he has to sneak out, asking to go to the bathroom.
From recognizing the Confederacy, he subjugated what? He subjugated the what? He subjugated the what? He subjugated the...
Damn, now I kind of want to know what he subjugated. They eventually time travel 3 months back to Lollapalooza to watch Imagine Dragons, cementing that this is in fact a movie from 2015.
How are we gonna...
Well, we can see the second half of that. Yo, you guys, wait, you guys, we don't have to argue. This already happened. It's all on Instagram. I know what was sick and what wasn't.
Okay, I get you're traveling back in time, but if he's saying that, is he implying that he took his phone back in time and he can still see those tweets from the future, like the phone hasn't adjusted to the time or the day or what? I'm honestly just saying in general, how would phones work being brought back in time? Could you still view certain tweets or films that aren't released yet, so long as you, download it? Maybe he's saying those events that they want to go to already happened, and thus from the Instagram tweets he can now see which ones he can go further back in time to go to, instead of the Imagine Dragons concert. But they were arguing about like it was an upcoming event they wanted to go to, and they never time travel even further back. They only just go back to exactly 3 months. They don't time travel again even further back. So, I don't know, maybe I'm just confusing myself now. They eventually get backstage and mess around as David and Jesse continually plant the seeds of relationship. They continue talking and almost take it to the next level, but David is too scared. However, Chris and Adam end up together, which was hinted at before and I already said. They end up leaving, and I have a question. So when things change, does the other version of the person take over? Because they were at Lollapalooza, whatever, but it changed the events, like the course of events. So does the past version that wasn't time traveling live with that? Because we know when they time travel, the version of them in the past is still there. So does the past version just not care that people saw them at a concert they weren't at or doing things they weren't doing? Like, do they just have to adapt to a totally different world? I'm confused. And wait, if there's the other version of you in the past, if you change the future, do they get eliminated, or when you return to the current time of when you time travel, not current time of that reality at the point you time traveled, is there just two versions of you? I know I'm not probably phrasing this correctly, so let me re-explain it and simplify my question. Still kind of long to explain it, but simplified. Okay, so there's two of you. One version of you in the past you want to time travel to, and you, with the person that wants to travel in the past. So you time travel to the past, and that past version is still in that reality. It's just they can't come into contact with you, else you get removed and brought back to your original timeline. What happens after you've done time traveling and go back to the current time? Does that past version have to react to all the changes you've made and react to see? Because they would probably be confused if they were seen at a party they weren't at, since Quinn posted it on Facebook. And since they can travel back to the current time in that reality, since stuff has been changed, does that past version that's been living that changed reality just get eliminated? That one that was originally living in the past you traveled to? Because they time travel to the current time they originally time traveled to, but in the universe that they altered. Right? This is really weird. Because they travel back to the reality, but with the changes they made in the past affecting the current time. So does the version of you living in the past up until you travel back to the time you originally traveled, but now in the altered version, just disappear or what? Either way, because David didn't make a move on Jesse, the relationship is strained, and thus he goes back on his own, somehow being quicker than the previous David, I guess, unless we're just forgetting those rules, and finally kisses her, leading to them being a couple. Thus, this leads to him being in a new dimension, while I guess his friends in their original dimension, or whichever one they're in now, are just left without a David. This is what I thought until Adam and Quinn mentioned having to fix an airplane crash because of this, all the time travel stuff, so I guess they remember the first few times before David permanently changed Lollapalooza in his relationship with Jesse. Although this does feel super far into the film, 79 minutes into a barely 100-minute movie. A little late, but at least we're showing it. I mean, maybe if they didn't easily solve the whole double Quinn seeing each other and the missing dog dilemma so quickly, it would have felt natural and like it was building up to a big problem. David time travels again, leading to Adam being in a coma, which causes David to try again. However, Jesse follows him. They talk, wherein he reveals he used time travel to make them a couple. This makes her mad until they make up, and then the other version of her shows up, causing a paradox and erasing them both from their timeline. I guess permanently destroying them? Brutal. He soon gets tracked by the cops for Jesse's disappearance, leading to the obligatory I'm sorry scene in found footage movies where they realize they messed up. David goes inside the school and ends up time traveling back to his 7th birthday party. He talks to his dad, where David says how there's no second chances, saying goodbye to his dad and also removing this timeline and himself, with somehow the camera remaining. Damn, I think this dude might be worse than the Spot. Even if he's fixing mistakes, he's deleting whole timelines and people from it. Although I do like when David repeats a phrase from his dad last said to him before he died, time me, almost as a way of coming full circle from the initial event to time traveling back to it and realizing it just before permanently erasing himself from the timeline.
I tell you what, why don't you
Time me.
Brutal. Back in another timeline, I suppose, Chris and David are back in the attic before finding 2 different video cameras, seeing the one that recorded everything because of the grandfather paradox, I guess. Every universe, there has to be a way to discover time travel, no matter how weird it is. The next day, David returns Jesse's backpack like he did before, and the film ends with him saying to her that they're going to change the world. And that was Project Almanac. Decent. Usually time travel movies run the risk of being overly complicated, and this one is no different. However, it still manages to be entertaining enough to forgive those mistakes, and gives you compelling enough characters to get through the runtime. Its found footage aspect doesn't drag the film down, but it doesn't really bring it up. But I still recommend watching it at least once, as it is unique. You can follow me on Instagram or TikTok, and you can subscribe. You can see when I upload my new videos, it means a lot. And you can just, see so you can watch them, because if you like videos like this, you'll like the new ones that I have coming out. I hope you enjoyed this video. I did, and it was fun watching this forgotten film and seeing if it was worthwhile. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.